What is going on, YouTube? PPS here, past the prop, coming at you guys for NFL game tonight. Probably the best primetime game you could possibly have. Please make up for Thursday Night Football. My God, let's get it today. Coming at you guys, Week 11 recap, Monday Night Football, best bets. Stu, what is going on, my friend?
Nothing much. Like you said, I've been looking forward to this game as soon as we saw the schedule, right? It's almost one of those things where we wanted to just skip over some of the main slate talk and get some bets in early. But it's good to have a whole show just dedicated to this game. Super Bowl rematch, possible future Super Bowl. Once again, two of the best teams in the league. I think when you look at, most experts, they would have these two guys in, any top three in any list you're looking at. So super pumped for tonight's matchup. I think we got some good bets today. Hopefully some good long shots, and let's just keep on winning some money over here.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I think it should be a good game. Obviously, books think so as well. I was surprised only a 45.5 total after you've seen the Super Bowl there, but it's in Kansas City, going to be probably not that great outside either. So should be a fun game though. Obviously, a Super Bowl rematch there. We got 10 of you guys in here first couple minutes. Appreciate you popping in early and often. I guess we can recap our weekend and get it rolling there. I took the L there. You guys know I was tweeting about Sean McVay's incompetency. I don't know. Why nobody talks shit on Sean McVay, bro? Why? I don't understand. This dude's dumb, bro. It was so bad. Like, how do you not do anything? 6 out of 8 3-and-outs to start the game. One of them was a turnover on down, so 7 out of 8 of your first drives are that. It was so bad. Probably one of the worst offensive things I've ever watched. Obviously, Cooper Kupp goes out, came back in for a little bit, goes back out. Only reason they won was because of freaking Drew Lock coming in and turning the ball over on his own 20 because the dude's so bad. But hopefully Gino's fine. Obviously, a fan of the show. We want him to be okay. But my God, dude, that was such an awful attempt at football there. So I don't know why nobody talks shit on McVay, dude. What the hell?
Yeah, I mean, I like McVay. I didn't watch that game, so I need to rewatch it and obviously see.
You should rewatch it, bro. It's paint dry. That's for real.
But it obviously, just from a box score watching perspective, it did not look good. I'm very happy I didn't have any action whatsoever in that game. I had no bets, so it stayed off all the screens for me, luckily.
Yeah, it was gross. And then, dude, it sucks that like the one guy I hate more than anyone is the guy who ruined this for me, and it was stupid Samaje Perine because Russ doesn't throw the ball downfield ever, dude. All they kept doing was the same play, and he kept getting all those passes. He would have hit. Javonte would have hit if he would have been in on those plays and cash those, but obviously the usage rate for him went down significantly. Dude, he was running hard too. I just don't know. They just decided to go away from it. So it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, that was an ugly game. I mean, it was weird to get just seeing P. Ryan come in, have 40 yards on the last drive was brutal. And two, it looked like he got hurt on one play, came out the game. So I was like, oh, nice, Javonte got the next catch. And then I looked closely and he was right back out there again. And it was just like, damn, can't get away from this guy. So definitely a brutal ending to that one, to just watch P. Ryan march down the field and get every single catch on that drive.
Yeah, dude, those were like my least favorite things to watch there. It's just because dude faked an injury because he fumbled the ball and then said, oh, I'm fine. 2 minutes. Like, bro, you were limping, pretending you're fake injured because you fumbled. Luckily, the ball went out of bounds. Like, oh, I'm good. I'll go back in. It's just like, bro, just stop with that BS, bro. That's some soccer shit, bro. Luckily for us, I ended up getting Jordan Love. I really hope some of you guys grab that 300. I talked about it. I should have played it. 25 yards got me an extra $3, bro. It was $630 for him to get 300 because he didn't get a 300-yard game all season, bro. It's been forever. But I was there. Hey, I told you guys what happens when I go there, man. 1-0 this year in Lambeau. Best game of the season. Shout out Quentin Johnston for just sucking, bro. That was one of the worst attempts at football I've ever seen. I don't know what that was. He cooked the corner, dude. We're on like our 4th-string corner. Cooked him. Red basket. Shout out Herbert for putting out a beautiful ball, and they freaking drop it, dude. What the hell? Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they're out yet. The PFF grades will likely have Justin Herbert as one of the best games of the year right there, funnily enough, and a loss because he was diming these guys and, I mean, just killed with drops. I know I've said a lot of negative things about a decent amount of people so far this year. One of those people was Quentin Johnston, right? I constantly was shitting on this guy at the beginning of the season, and at least I don't have to worry about those clips negatively resurfacing against me because we're all on the same page now. Everyone is seeing. No one watched this guy play at TCU. 6'4", huge athlete, freak. You're like, oh my god, this guy's Mike Williams, right? So why were 60% of his passes in college screen passes? Why were they 60%? Well, he's 6'4". What? Oh, it's because he can't catch the fucking football. That's right. I mean, anyone that watched the guy kind of knew this wasn't going to work out immediately. I was still holding out hope. Development happens, obviously, but hopefully, the guy picks it up. But then another shout out to you, too. You made me think of it. Douglas, your call earlier, he balled out for the Bills yesterday. I mean, you could clearly see that was missed in that Packers secondary because you mentioned it, an underrated asset, and that he just showed it on national TV the other night.
Yeah, Rasul's man, dude, he's the man. I mean, he's nice. So, in those games where they're going to be high scoring Bills games, definitely grab him for a pick or something, bro.
Yeah.
The dude is really, really nice. Obviously, he wasn't going to re-sign with us, so it is what it is on that end. But yeah, he's a stud, man. Obviously, talked about Jaden Reed as well on the show. He did fantastic. Talked about my boy Wicks on the show. He did fantastic. Hopefully, you guys did pay attention on that. It pays to watch. I literally probably dropped. I ended up having Reed in DFS at 1% ownership, bro. Dropped a 20 piece. I told you guys I got 40% exposure to this man and Luke Musgrave in best ball. This dude is awesome, man. He's open all the time. Michigan State, they don't pass it much. I know nobody was watching them because they suck, but the dude was nice. He was there. He always cooked the Badgers when we played him. He's nice. So I'm hoping somebody threw some stuff with Reed in. I saw Brad bet on Wicks because I do the big play threat, man. That's all he's there for. Run it. It just sits in the middle of that zone. And I continue to say, dude, don't bet on Christian Watson. I just don't do it, man. I mean, your best bet is just touchdown because they only throw him the ball in the red zone. 3 targets. 2 of them were in the end zone. One of them should have been a touchdown. Jordan Love threw a terrible ball out of bounds. But, I mean, he had to put it where the only guy could get it would be him, and he tried to get it in. He got 1 foot in. Could have had a 2-touchdown day on 3 catches, which would have been damn impressive for him.
Yeah, the point of this all, we need to get you in more boxes, man. You got that all going. We cashed pretty much everything in that game as well. So definitely glad to see it. Shout out to your Packers for getting a rare dub for us over here on the show.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Harrison coming in here as a Bears fan talking all this smack, bro. Like, you guys suck too, bro. Like, you guys fucking blow. I don't know what you're talking shit about, man. If Lions fan come in here, man. You guys are nice. Those guys are nice. Shout out Monty, bro. We might as well just go right into that because that one made us sweat there a little bit. Jameer Gibbs from the 2, huh? How about that? I wanted to see your face. I was gonna send you a text, but I'm like, dude, I can't do it till after the game because I didn't want to give your ass a heart attack.
No, I was already getting it a little from Discord. I mean, the same panic as last week of like, and last week the thing is, the whole, okay, Monty said they subbed him out. That's not what happened here. I mean, Gibbs just got the touchdown.
I was like, dude, they're on the 2. Like, this is free. This shit's free. Like, what is going on here? And then I'm like, I look at my thing, and obviously on Yahoo, they give you if your fantasy guy scores, they send you a text or whatever. And I'm like, I look at my thing, Lions score a touchdown. I'm like, yes. Give me a text. I'm waiting 10 seconds in. I'm like, I didn't get a text. And it wasn't to Amon-Ra. It wasn't to Laporta because those guys were against me. Yeah. I had Amon-Ra. He had Laporta. I'm like, who the fuck caught it? Who the fuck? And I look at him like, it wasn't Goff. And I look at him, I'm like, how does Gibbs get a 2-yard carry in there? And then it was just wild to me, man. Weird.
It was scary, but hey, with the game on the line, Monty, they had to get him the ball. He got us the win. And hey, Kyler did not make us sweat. We talked about it. One of these props should never be in this 240 range. I don't think we see it there again. Maybe we'll see what happens. But yeah, it was a little sweaty. It wasn't quite as easy as last week in the first half, but definitely glad we cashed this one right here.
Yeah, shout out to Njoku for being our only straight bet winner of the week. Obviously, we were 2-0 on long shots, 1-3 on straight bets. I think we still went up 2.9 units this week just on those long shots. Shout out to that 590, man. I should have went 300. I got no balls, bro. I don't know what I was doing, homie.
Yeah, and hey, yeah, shout out to Joku. I mean, honestly, it's crazy when you think about the guys that are the most profitable players to you over the last couple of years. And like David Njoku has had such a pedestrian career since he was drafted. Like he had high expectations. He's never really done anything. If I had looked back over the last like 3-4 years, I think I'm like 8-1 on this guy. So absolutely love David Njoku. Been a legend to me so far this year. Doesn't matter what quarterback is, whether we got Dorian, Thompson Robinson, Deshaun Watson, who cares? He's catching those checkdowns either way. So be on the look for that once again next week. Definitely want to stay on the Njoku train.
Yeah, obviously 12 targets in that game. Was obviously the number one guy there. So really nice to see. Obviously, I would have never guessed you could have probably gave me +1 or -500. I would have never guessed Thompson would throw 42 passes in that game. He was like 24 for 42. I'm like, really? This is what we're doing here? It was crazy because I don't know if you noticed this, but they always like hand the ball off all first quarter and then just never give the ball back to Ford and Hunt again. It's so weird because I always get the update because Jerome Ford scores a touchdown every single first quarter, does nothing the rest of the game. I'm like, what is going on, dude? How are we just not giving this guy the ball anymore? But yeah, it was interesting, man. It was weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just a testament to there's a difference between DTR coming in as a backup last minute, and there's a difference between saying you're the starter for the rest of the year. We want to see if you have anything. And if you want to see if a guy's got anything, then you let him throw the ball, no matter how ugly it turns out to be. And DTR had some really rough passes, but also he generally kept things together. He did what the Browns want to do, let the defense win the game. That's all the Browns are ever going to ask their quarterbacks to do. So shout out to DTR. It wasn't pretty, but at least, he kept his team in it this week. And yeah, cash our player prop right here. That's all I care about.
Yeah, no, we're at 5.1 units. We obviously want to get that number going a little bit better there for our straight bets. But hey, we'll take 5 units in the profit. Obviously, we did very well on the long shots this week. Yeah, dude. Terrence bringing up our long shot. Terrence Johnson catches that ball. We end up cashing that 74-1 prop for our long shot there, but I think he ended up with like 30, and then that was obviously a 40-yard catch. So it's like you could have taken that 70 and that shit would have hit there. But he also had a couple other ones in that game that didn't come through. So just a wild spot that we even had that opportunity at a 74-1.
Yeah, no, yeah, Quentin Johnson. I mean, this guy's never getting my money. Never once. Will never get my money. I really want to bet on Jalen Guyton. The tweet was ready to go, and he got ruled inactive randomly after playing the last couple weeks too. So that killed me. I just had to sit that one out. And I pivoted to Austin Eckler, which also failed for some reason as well. I bet rush attempts and fucking receptions because I'm like, one of these is gonna hit. Like, there's no way they both miss, and then they both miss. So shout out to Austin Eckler in that one, just as good as Quentin Johnson in my book. Shit.
Well, the thing was, I don't know. I mean, I'll go down a rabbit hole here, but the Chargers are obviously on turf, and the Packers obviously play in Lambeau, right? They got grass, and they came out, what's his face, Staley, all week about we're slipping and shit, and guess what? 90% of their team went and got cleats that were longer, so they were fine. Mm-hmm. Guess who was one of the 5 dudes who didn't? Fucking Eckler. And he was a guy who fell 4 times, fumbled the ball on a trip, and had a wide open pass that should have been like 40 yards down the sideline. And guess what? Couldn't get his footing, falls down. And yeah, he was just motherfucking he was just yelling, running to the sideline all the time there. But oh my God, dude. How did he get caught? He got, plus money Bob talking about that. He should have easily scored, bro. Yeah. Easily. That shit was easy. I don't know how he got caught.
I don't know if you remember. Someone said he looked exactly like Jay Ajayi. I don't know if you remember him in the.
I remember Jay Ajayi.
It was just slow motion, but he was still getting like 18 carries a game or whatever. Those are kind of the vibes. He looked kind of like a fullback, which I don't know if we're seeing this more with these older running backs. If they still have the initial burst to get those 20-yard runs, and then they're getting caught a lot faster, right? Something that used to be a house call is now only a 20-yard run. I mean, if you watch any Derrick Henry this year, it would be the exact same thing. Like, the first step is there. They can hit the hole. And then once you see them accelerate down the field, it's like, what the fuck happened to this guy, get him out of the wheelchair. So I don't know. Hopefully, yeah, Eckler, my fantasy team was disappointed yesterday. My bets were disappointed yesterday. So we need a real bounce back next week.
Yeah, I mean, quick off topic here. First round picks, bro, this year. First round fantasy players. Eckler's been dog, bro. Like he is so TD dependent this year. It is wild. I looked at his stats because obviously with Joe Burrow going out, I was looking at trading some of my buddies, right? I don't even want him. I don't even want him, bro. Like, I mean, not saying it wouldn't be a nice addition to the team, but for what it would require for me to get a first round pick, that dude is doing nothing. And he was going like 2 to 4 in drafts, right? So it's like that. Now you got Chase, who doesn't have a quarterback. Now you got Justin Jefferson, hasn't played anything. It's really just, I hope you got CMC, man. That's really what you're hoping for. And maybe Amon-Ra Sidi at the back end of the round 1, right? So it's like there's not been much from round 1 picks here this year.
Yeah, no doubt. But hey, we got a fantastic game to jump into right now, so we do not have to sulk about our bad fantasy picks from the beginning of the year anymore. And hopefully, win some money for today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's before we get into today's game, Stu, biggest takeaway. What is your biggest takeaway here from week 11 and heading into obviously Thanksgiving week where we got a lot of early ones?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest takeaway one is all these teams suck. I mean, what is going on? I mean, this was a weird week for me. I don't know if I had any like major strong takeaways, honestly. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Vikings are like okay still. Like I'm going to bet on them again next week. That's what I took away. But the Broncos are also okay. I want to bet on them next week as well. I think those are 2 kind of underrated teams. The Bills finally got their win. They got things back together, but they have the Eagles next week. So not like it's a fun bounce back time. They got to go right into the madness. So super excited for that one. But I don't know if I have any like main takeaways. It feels like everyone did what they were supposed to, except the Lions, who had to, rely on that last second comeback. But hey, they got the job done at the end of the day. So hats off to them.
Yeah, I got a couple takeaways. I'm excited here for Dallas now actually getting into real teams, right? Sure. Getting into that schedule where it's like real players, right? Obviously, you got Washington this week on a short week, so that's, whatever. But do you see the end of the schedule, man? It's gonna be tough. So I'm ready to see that. Obviously, they're going to play on Thanksgiving against your Commanders. My team will be in action as well on Thursday night as well, or Thursday morning as well. So that'd be cool for us. Obviously, having our Wednesday show talking about that game, those games, and our personal teams. But one thing I want to mention, I will be probably betting or taking a lot of props against this Niners defense, bro. Like if they lose, I heard how Fonga might be multiple weeks, bro. If he's out multiple weeks, they're going to still get sacks. They're still going to get all that. But I took Baker Mayfield pass attempts, bro. That shit looked dead in the first half, right? He had 10 attempts in the first half. That boy ended up with 45 attempts, bro.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. These pass catchers against San Francisco, they're going to give up a ton of yards, bro. Like, just watching these dudes are obviously Rashad White, 6 catches. Evans got a touchdown there. They couldn't stop him in the red zone. Obviously, they get a ton of pressure on you, and they completely stymied the run. But my God, dude, you got to take some pass catchers against these guys. I really want Geno to be healthy because I'm going to be betting on them here soon. I know they got 2 matchups with the Niners here coming up. So I'm really excited. Hopefully, Geno gets healthy and is ready to go because Thursday night, I think they're the late game. Facing off against the Niners, man, I want to bet on him quite a bit if I'm going to get this Niners team. Hufanga. I saw ACL, didn't know if it was bad, but bro, this secondary is just getting torched.
Yeah, I actually talked about this last night with AC on my show for Odds Trader, and my kind of hypothesis on this game is that it's almost good that Kenneth Walker got a little hampered in that game, because maybe now Shane Waldron will go back in his bag, because we know this is a good offensive play caller, but this team gets so set in their ways of wanting to establish the run. And that never works. The Seahawks keep getting their asses kicked against the 49ers because they try to do the same thing. I pretty much did the same thing you did right there of you can beat the 49ers in their secondary now, especially Hufanga out. You're going to ask Gibson to step into a bigger role, not the same kind of athlete whatsoever, more of a veteran leader. And now you got to go even more into the depth. You lost Jimmy Ward to the Texans this offseason. Like they're this safety core, you can beat this team deep. The problem is your offensive line, it just has to give you enough time to survive. I'm just really worried that no matter what, Pete Carroll loves doing the same bullshit every single year of we're going to run the ball 40 times against the 49ers, and that does not work. And you've seen in the past that does not work. So we'll see if they learn their lesson. I don't know, because for me, I would like to bet on Geno as well, but I don't think I have that kind of trust, especially if Kenneth Walker is in there.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. They said it was pretty bad. Oblique is a tough injury too, dude.
Yeah.
Especially when that's a really I had an oblique strain. That shit was like 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks. Obviously, I was doing baseball, so it's a lot more rotational, but you're getting smoked every play, man. And the way he runs, you can't have that right in the middle of your body. You're getting smoked every play, man, especially against this team. This is a brutal spot. So I'm like, Geno's got to take the place of Burrow for me in fantasy. He is my only backup. Picked up Baker. Might try to grab Josh Dobbs, but Geno and I got DK. So it's like they play the Niners twice, and then they play Dallas, and then they play Philly. Like those are on these guys, and it's like, man, even different. I'm tired of watching every time. It's not going to work here. I know you got a frozen face right now. Hopefully we can hopefully you can hear us. I guess I can start our breakdown here. Are you good?
I can hear you, yeah, but it was kind of spazzing for me. I think we're good.
I don't know. I saw yours was slowing up on me, but I don't know if it was on my end or yours. But we can get to this game today. We got obviously probably the best game of the week. It'd be hard to argue. 45.5-point total, 112 to the over. We have the Chiefs minus 2.5 at home. What is your thoughts here, Stu? Pick one of those four sides for me. Minus 142 on the money line for the Chiefs as well. Close spot. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's the side I would pick if I had to in this game. I mean, the over is tempting, but it's almost like too tempting when you look at that number right there. You consider the rainy conditions people are talking about, or just possibly not being a good weather spot right there. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think the Chiefs are probably the slightly better team. My biggest worry at the end of the day right here is still like the Chiefs, like they don't care that much about regular season games. Like I know it's kind of boring to say stuff like that, but like repeatedly, Andy Reid has been a guy that over the years has not brought out that A+ playbook until the season is on the line. And the season is not on the line today, as much as we'd like to make it be as fans, you know what I mean? And make this the most intense matchup ever. It is just a regular season game at the end of the day. That being said, the prime time, it'll be fun. But I'm going to back the Chiefs right here. I think they're the better overall team right now. I think the Eagles trending downward in their secondary has been a little bit of a concern so far this season. And obviously, Patrick Mahomes is kind of the worst quarterback in the world to have that problem against. I mean, when you come down to it, who do I have to trust with a game-winning drive at the end of the day? It's going to be Patrick Mahomes. Super fun game, though. I really do think the way the Chiefs play this heavy cover 2 defense, I think the Eagles are going to be able to test them in a very smart way. And I think this will be a good litmus test for the Chiefs defense come playoff time, because most teams want to run you up and down, right? These Chiefs guys are used to running with the Bills, the Bengals. Let's get into a race. The Eagles don't really want to get into a race with you. They can. They have the personnel to, great talent, but they want to control the game pace. They want to take over. They want to let their backs do the talking. They want to let the trenches do the talking. And that is a good way you beat the Chiefs. So I'm pumped. I think it's a 1-score game. Super excited to watch this one. But at the end of the day, gun to my head, I'll take the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm curious too, because obviously you look at the Super Bowl and they had a lot of big plays, and that's something that you don't see against the Chiefs very often, where guys are able to, go 40 yards on the field, right? I think both Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown both had 40-yard catches in the Super Bowl. I mean, we always talk about how these defensive-minded coaches, Spagnuolo wants to do his stuff, right? The two guys back. So it's like I'm almost up in the air now because it's like if you could do that in the biggest game of the season, how are you making, 45, 48-yard catches here? It's like, are you going to make an adjustment a little bit here? I know they blitz a ton. So it's like it's up. I'm so up in the air because I always want to take longest reception unders against the Chiefs because they just don't give up bombs. But you go back to the last time they played and they had like 4 of them, right? 4 of them 20 yards down the field. And then obviously Devontae Smith had that 45-yard touchdown. Brown had a 45-yard catch there. So it's like what I've seen and then what happened in that last matchup, it's just like makes me think a little bit more. I think I have to lean the over. I don't have a lean on the side, to be honest. I mean, if gun to my head, I'd really want this number to be 3 to bet the Eagles. I'd really want that 3.5. I don't think it's going to get there, but this is probably a pick'em game in a neutral site, right? That's really what we see, -1. And I mean, it's the Chiefs at home, dude. Arrowhead is popping, man. I think it'd be the other way if it was in Philly. So it's like, I mean, I guess in that sense, the value's probably on the Eagles side because I would have this at a pick'em in a neutral site. But dude, I mean, Arrowhead is wild, man. And I would probably lean the Chiefs money line if I had to pick one, but I don't want to pick a side. I think this is going to be just a fun game. And I hope some points come. But yeah, I could see this being a slow, methodical spot too.
Yeah, it's just annoying because when you think about it, like the Eagles, you mentioned all those deep plays, like they're such an impossible team to kind of limit because you're either picking, do we want to let DeAndre Swift and Jalen Hurts run the ball 8 yards at a time slowly down the field? Or do we want to risk A.J. Brown beating our guy in one-on-one coverage deep down the field? The answer is normally we never want to let A.J. Brown score that 45-yard touchdown, which enables the Eagles to take over pace so well and control these games so well. Because at the end of the day, you're safe unless your linebackers are out of this world, which with the Nick Bolton injury so far this year, they really haven't been out of this world. Then it's going to be incredibly hard to consistently limit Hurts, Swift, and just that rushing game in general while also limiting the deep ball. You can't choose both when you're going against an elite team. My gut is telling me they're going to choose to eliminate the deep ball to the best of their ability. We'll see if that succeeds or not tonight.
I also want to see if the Eagles can come back. I want to see if they can actually come back.
Oh,
I don't know if they can. That's why I think I have to go towards that side. I don't think they can. They haven't shown me that.
The chat doesn't want to hear about this. I can talk about how the Eagles can't. That's my biggest concern. That's why I don't think this is a Super Bowl contending team right here. But that's also why you got to give them a little bit of props right here because, once again, this is a regular season game. I don't think the stakes are where they're going to be. Because I agree with you. That's my biggest concern. How do the Eagles respond when they're – I would love it if the Eagles went down 14-0 in this game just to see what the fuck happens. Where does the playbook go when not everything is perfect for you, playing behind the best offensive line in football with the best wide receivers in football, right? I want to see where you are in that situation. I don't think that's going to happen today, but I would love it. I think that would give us some great data for the future as well.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Stu, I think it's time. Let's get some picks. 30 of you guys in here live with us on your Monday afternoon. Thank you guys so much. Hit that like button if you haven't already. And let's get it started, Stu. Obviously, a play that has been a wagon for us here. I love to see that you're on it again.
Yeah, we're going to a pretty popular play today. We're going Jalen Hurts over 8.5 rush attempts, -125. Like I said earlier, this is one that we've hit twice on the show so far, including once when he was dealing with this injury and everyone in the world was kind of hating on it just a little bit ago, right? Sorry, I'll get to you in a minute right there. I see that comment. I don't want to derail right now. We can get there in a minute. But right now, I want to go back to Hurts because, sorry, I got fully distracted right there. I can argue about the Eagles all day, baby. I love it. But I love Jalen Hurts in this matchup right here. When we look at what he's done so far, one, he's over this number in both primetime games so far. I bet him both in primetime games so far where he cleared double-digit rush attempts in both of those. We've talked about that a lot over the course of the show, where you want generally quarterbacks running the ball in bigger spots, right? A guy's not more likely to put his body on the line in a game where they're up 42-12 over like the Panthers or something like that. So for me right here, I see a highly competitive matchup. Obviously, we saw what he did in the Super Bowl, almost fucking doubled this number right here. And we're still getting a relatively good number. I read from all the beat reporters, it's looking like he's shedding the knee brace this week as well. He's had the knee brace the last couple of weeks. Like I said, still cash this for us with the knee brace. You love that kneel downs are always a possibility, whether it's one at the end of the half or at the end of the game. It's normally more conservative quarterbacks that do that. I really thought I was going to crush the DTR prop on kneel downs. I was so looking forward to that. It didn't end up happening right here, but obviously a very live in these kind of situations right here. We've cashed on that before, and you guys know how effective the tush push is. I mean, that's really a baked in 3 to 4 rush attempts per game, which you love having that floor, but it's the same reason that I talked about earlier in the season and earlier in the show. It's that this Chiefs team is a predominantly cover 2 team. They've run more cover 2 than any other team for most of the season. I believe they're second right now in usage. We've seen some spikes recently, but still, this is a mainly cover 2 team. We want to eliminate explosive plays. We want to keep everything in front of us, and that's going to yield great rush opportunities for Hurts. It's going to eliminate explosive rush opportunities. You're not going to maybe see those 27, 28-yard rushes that we love against man-heavy teams, because that's when you can really take advantage. But in these zone-heavy teams, Hurts is going to have those little 4 or 5 yard windows that the defense is going to have to allow. Because like I said, you don't get to have your cake and eat it too. You can't stop A.J. Brown. You can't stop Devonta Smith without all that extra attention. And what that yields is more opportunity for a guy like Jalen Hurts. So I know this is popular. I know people are throwing out the same stats, hit this in this many games, blah, blah, blah. To me, none of that really matters at all. I don't care about the pass hit rates. I don't care about what happened in last year's Super Bowl. I care about the defensive coverages in this game. And to me, that lines up as the perfect opportunity to do what I said I think the Eagles are going to try to do earlier: control pace. We're going to march down the field. We're going to do drives at our own speed. And it's going to feel great when we have a 9-minute drive and we get 3 tush pushes on it and 1 scramble. That feels great as a Jalen Hurts better. I've been there before. I love these slow, methodical drives from the Eagles. I think that's 100% going to be their strategy in this game. And like we always say, I want to be on the same side as the coaching staff. So understand it's a popular one. I know you got to bite that bullet every once in a while, but I'd like to remind you, we're 2-0 on this prop. I bet them both in primetime games as well. And I'm sure you saw those same stupid tweets from the guy that works at BetMGM telling you that 100,000% of bets are all on the over today. And we'll see what happens. Those tweets were out then before we still cash the bets. I'm thinking we cash them again today.
Yeah, no, I'll let you respond to these guys here shortly in the chat. I will let you get there, but I will be betting on Hurts as well today. I will be betting on his over 273 passing plus rushing yards there, minus 115 on FanDuel, 276 on DraftKings. So obviously head over to FanDuel if you have that option. I do agree with a lot of the stuff you said. I also am very, very against DeAndre Swift today. So I think that a lot of those rushing attempts will go to Swift versus go to Hurts versus Swift. I just don't think that he's going to be able to do too much on the ground, to be honest, even though they do have a fantastic offensive line. I do like that Spagnuolo loves to blitz. I love having Hurts running around that pocket a little bit there. We've seen him, multiple weeks away from that injury. So hopefully he's feeling a little bit better. But I also, like I said, I do like the Chiefs in this one if I had to take a money line spot. But also, I understand what he was talking about there a little bit, where he's talking about the Commanders and all that shit. But that doesn't matter. We're looking at the Chiefs here, bro, at home, man. You're talking about them in Arrowhead. The Chiefs are the number 2 scoring team in the first half this year. They're number 2 in the NFL at home this year. They're averaging 21.3 points in the first half at home this year, right? That's second to only the Cowboys, and that's because they scored 40 in the first half in one of those first 2 games of the season, right, where they dropped 40 in the first half, right? So if I'm going to have these guys behind in the game, right, if I'm going to have those Chiefs bum rushing right away, which I think they do. I do like, if I had a bet on the first half, I might, like I said, I kind of want to do that now that I've looked at these numbers because obviously the first 10 plays scripted is one of the best. Andy Reid's one of the best in the world at that, man. He's so good at getting these guys started right away in those first 10. But I think if we see these guys fall behind, obviously I think I really leaned on the completions as well for Hurts at 21.5. You just have so many deep play options, but I also like the yards after the catch, right? You got AJ. It's tough to bring down A.J. Brown in space. It's tough to catch Devonta Smith in space, right? These are tough dudes. Obviously, that Goddard injury is tough. That's brutal. But The reason I don't like Swift in the running game is because I'd like him in the passing game, right? I just don't like him on the ground, but you want to get the explosive players the ball, right? And they have a lot of explosive players. These guys are just skill players galore here on this Eagles offense. You also get to have the option for Hurts running, especially with that cover 2, getting like those 8-yard runs, getting those first downs. He's so good at that. And obviously, I love your play as well. We've talked about that play a ton on the show, but I think the Chiefs do come out fast. I think that's obviously an option here with a 21 point average, right? Averaging that much in the first half at home. And I think this crowd will get them going right away. I think the Eagles start a little bit slower than they usually do. And if I get a second half of actually having the Eagles have like a normal football drive and not try to run it 19 straight consecutive times, I think that we crush this number. And obviously, if you want to go throughout the year, obviously you look at his numbers he did against Washington, did against Miami in competitive matchups in those ones there, right? You go to even against the Rams in a close matchup there as well, right? So if this game stays close, I think this number is going to get absolutely smashed. So sign me up for Jalen Hurts to get this number here.
Yeah, I agree with you, especially too about the fact that what you were saying about AJ Brown and Devonta Smith, the yak ability, the downfield ability. I talk a lot about how I think they're going to try to, approach this game very methodically, right? And they're going to have a lot of rushing. But what that opens up is the deep ball, right? You do all that to open up those play action deep balls, those one-on-one opportunities. You lower those safeties to sleep, and then you finally strike, right? And that's why I do like the passing yards, because there's so many guys that can have a 40-yard catch on this team, right? And that's always a huge bonus right there. And yeah, we already talked about the rushing. Clearly love the upside there. Definitely love this spot tonight. I see a lot of potential. Like you said, whether this is an over or under game, I think it can get there. But the fact that we both kind of see this as having some offense, is definitely a good sign.
Yeah, and let me. I'm just gonna get my 2 cents in on this, Hugh. I know you must be an Eagles fan. Y'all suck on the road, bro. For real. Like, I looked at your road splits and shit. Like, you beat the Cowboys, yeah, but you were at home, bro. You guys beat New England on the road. That's it. I mean, New England, and then you lost to the Jets, bro. Like, that's going to sit in my head for a while. You guys smash people at home, and I get it. Obviously, you guys have a phenomenal home field, but I got to see it. This is a game. This is the game to show me, like, you guys can do it on the road. You got to show it out. Like I said, I looked at it there. They beat New England. It's New England. They beat Tampa Bay on the road, right? That's Tampa Bay. I just talked about how I hate the Rams. They beat them on the road. And then they lost to the Jets and played a close game to Washington, right? So this is a huge step up to what they've played on the road there. Obviously, like I said, Philly at home is a different dog, man. They're so good. But can you do it away from home? I don't know. And that's why I said if they fall behind, I love this number for Hurts, right? Like, I mean, I expect them to fall behind. I think that the Chiefs at home, like I said, phenomenal. But just looking at the teams you played there, that's tough for me to be like, oh, these guys are going to just go into Kansas City and go. They're just smack them. Like it's going to be tough here. And I don't know if I see it at least starting out fast and get ahead there. So I definitely, dude, I'm not really arguing with you here. I think they're going to be fine. I'm betting on the overs for your guys. It's just, I think it's because they got to show it to me away from financial field, man. I think this is going to be like I said, this is what makes it fun. This is what betting on it makes it fun.
Yeah, and anytime you have to use the Commanders and your rebuttal to anything is a bad side. I mean, you're not going to be playing the Commanders in the playoffs, right? When you go down 14-3, Emmanuel Forbes, a 5'9", 185-pound cornerback, is not going to be repeatedly in single coverage against AJ fucking Brown, right? That doesn't happen in the playoffs, right? There's a reason teams like Washington, with one of the worst secondaries in the league, don't make it that far. Like you said, I would have rather brought up that Cowboys one. I thought that was a more impressive one. But also, you watch that game, you watch it back, you watch it a couple times, and then you come out and tell me that you then feel comfortable betting on the Eagles to repeat that victory, because a couple things went their way in that victory. Like you said, I came out more impressed in the Cowboys after than in the Eagles. They got the win. That's obviously what matters at the end of the day. I'm just saying, if you go back and you watch, I think the Cowboys played above expectation more than the Eagles did in that one. I'm just at the end of the day concerned that the Eagles have the same, like they have a limiting factor as their quarterback. And that's not something that's a recipe for success in the playoffs. I think if there was a time to do it, it would have been last year, where your offensive line was not only fucking awesome, but your secondary also performed at the highest level in football. I understand the personnel hasn't changed too much, but we see more regression from cornerbacks and from secondary than any other team in the league any other position group in the league from a year-to-year basis. And the secondary not being at the same level does hurt. So, in the playoffs, you want a guy that you can put the fucking road on and you trust them to come back in any situation and win the game. Burrow is a guy that I didn't think was going to be on that list before, but from what he's done in the playoffs, it's hard for me to doubt a Burrow ever again, right? When you can put your city on your back and do what he did, in the past, I think he's kind of elevated himself to that level. I want another Tampa playoff game for Jalen Hurts. Go down early, then let's fight back. Let's make it a game. Instead, we have to watch him, lose 85-0 in that one. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited. I think the Eagles are a fun team. I get a lot of hate for hating on them, but I just think, they play in perfect situations a lot. And they should get credit for that. Their GM is obviously running laps around the rest of the league. I mean, this is a phenomenal team they put out there. We'll see what happens. I'm excited to watch them in the playoffs. That's what it all comes down to. I'm super pumped for playoff season. And unfortunately, we can't replicate that in the regular season, but hopefully this is, as close as we get this season.
Yeah, no, I like that you brought up their secondary and stuff there because it's like, where the ball is going, right? It's going to Kelsey on the offensive end, right? It's going there. He's the number one option significantly, right? But you look at CeeDee Lamb, bro, that dude was open on every play, right? And the ball was going there. Dak was throwing it to him every time. So it's like, in the playoffs last year, dude, those guys were shut down everybody, bro. They were nice. And it's like there's a lot of injuries there, so I'm not discrediting anything. But this is what happens when we argue with Eagles fans. Same thing when I argue with Bears fans, man. It's just like they got to keep it going and just like try to make it perfect on everything. And I'm like, I'm not even saying anything bad about them.
But even do you discredit the 49ers for playing in perfect situations? That is a valid counter argument right there. But yes, I think we all do that clearly, right? I mean, this is a team that when you look at them at the end of the day, we always look at them and go, they're so close to a Super Bowl, but the quarterback is the limiting factor. I have the same problem with the Lions. They're building in the right direction. Everything around them is so good, but your quarterback is that next level superstar that when you're down, when your back's against the wall, he can lift you into the promised land. There's only 2 quarterbacks that can do that in the league. Maybe there's only 1 quarterback that can do that in the league. I'm not sure what happens, but I don't know. I think we all discredit the 49ers. I mean, no one comes on here and says, Brock Purdy is perfect. This team is so good. Look at his EPA per play. Look how good it is. Well, sure, he works in a perfect system. That's why he's not the MVP favorite right now, no matter what those EPA numbers tell us, because we all look at our eyes and go, no, we're going to discredit you a little bit. So, yes, my problem is that we all discredit these other teams for working in these situations, but not the Eagles. The Eagles Jalen Hurts is just awesome. They're always so good. Well, yeah, they're working out of a great scheme as a great team, and they should be executing against most of these teams. So, I don't know. Like I said, I love watching the Eagles. It's really a lot of people I think I hate them or something like that. I just don't think they're the same team that everyone else thinks they are, at least, come playoff time.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for this game tonight, obviously there. So, this is always what happens whenever we get fans of the team, I do the same thing. I used to do the same thing. So we get there. We got our recap here. Stu, do you have a long shot here? I didn't fully go for a long shot yet. But do you have one? I don't even know. I didn't ask you before.
Yeah, well, I got a couple different spots. I mean, my long shot is Noah Gray to score a touchdown for tonight. I don't know if we want to do I don't have anything that I love or anything tonight. I think you could probably build some fun parlays with all the kind of square stuff, but you're not getting good value. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're really betting on one of these more niche guys. Even a guy like Rashee Rice a couple weeks ago that I was getting close to 400 for a touchdown. Yeah, it's 210. You're not doing much better. You're barely even in the 200s now. And it's I like Rashee Rice. I keep wanting to bet on this guy, but he makes it really hard. If you've actually bet him in the past, you see him go out there, ball out in the first quarter, catch a touchdown, and then he disappears for the rest of the game. So, yeah, for me, I like Noah Gray. And then there's 2 other long shots that I played. I don't want to give them out officially because I feel bad, but I love the value. It's on Bet365. So that's the problem right here. But if you have this, you can do the alternate longest receptions on that book, and you can get MVS and Watson, both for over 500 for a 30-yard catch. And then you can get them both at over 1,000 for a 40-yard catch. I mean, come on. If you've watched Watson or MVS, they do one thing. Run straight and hope Patrick Mahomes hits you perfectly in the hands so you dumb fucks can come down with it. And every once in a while, they do. So for me, why would I ever bet MVS one catch or whatever it is, or 11 yards, when I could get him to have a 30-yard catch and a 40-yard catch at 500 and 1,000? Like, that's crazy to me. And the reason this market isn't everywhere is because these numbers are bad. They're not adjusted for these guys' roles as much as they should be. So I know there's more people than I think that have Bet365 now that it's in a bunch of states and more cappers are promoting it. So I did want to give a shout out to that if you have that book, or you somehow have this longest reception alt lines available to you, then MVS and Watson, both to have those 30 and 40, are definitely plays that I hit this morning.
Yeah, no, I think the one I would look at is these are the weeks, right? Those later weeks that Jerick McKinnon finally gets involved in this offense. He scored a touchdown last week, plus 360 right now. It's still not that good. Like, I don't like it that much because I wish I would get that at like 4 to 5 because he barely plays. But he's going to be there in the red zone outside of like inside the 5-yard line, right? He gets those passes. He's obviously got, I think he's had like 3 or 4 40-yard plays this year that have gotten called back. I've literally watched them, at least 2. And I just don't know, man. I think that number, I wish that number was like closer to 500 just because he doesn't play that many snaps, but he's always in there in those snaps that matter, and especially those third down plays. So I do really like him there, but I just 360, man, that should be like 500, 400. I get he scored last week, but he has done nothing this year. But this right here is the time where he usually would, right? So just something I thought as my long shot, but it's like, it's only 300, 350, man. Come on. Give me a little better than that.
I think too, like him, like last week was the perfect situation for McKinnon to like play the McKinnon role, and he didn't. Pacheco played it. They were behind, and Pacheco was playing all the passing down snaps. He massively outsnapped him on even the downs that you're used to McKinnon playing. So I agree with you. I've been kind of making the same argument that McKinnon has this like extreme red zone usage at the end of the year. And you're right. He still barely played last week and still got the touchdown. But to me, that's the real concerning thing. Of last week is the week you want to see him finally play that role of when he's forced to, right? You're losing to the Broncos suddenly, but they didn't. They used Pacheco as kind of a workhorse running back, and he's kind of deserved it. He looks like a beast out there. So I was looking for McKinnon under rush yards. If you remember, we played that on a primetime show earlier this season, but it's not even an available market anymore. They only have rushing plus receiving. So that's a little frustrating right there. If you do see a rushing number for him at me today, because that's my main concern. It's just the regular usage has just been way worse than I would have expected. And hey, I've got him like 20% best ball. I was pretty big on McKinnon, so we need to see it start happening pretty soon, buddy, or it's gonna be a busted season.
Yeah, just the only reason I brought that up is I looked at like his game logs last year, right? Prior to 11-20, we'll go to 11-20 since they had a game on 11-20 last year. Prior to 11-20, he had 1 touchdown on the year, right? Prior to that, he scored a touchdown in 6 of his last 7 games after that time. So he was shit last year, Sart. It was the same thing. He didn't do anything. Like, you literally was not even involved in anything. But this and after, dude was on a crazy touchdown rampage, right? So it's like, and I mean, Rashee Rice, I guess, is taking a pretty good step forward for where I expected him to be at this point. Obviously, an SMU guy I bet on a ton, but still, I mean, I almost have to play him with how we've seen last year play out and how shitty he was in the first 7-8 weeks last year. So I just thought it'd be a little better than 360 though.
No, that's fair. And I want to find a long shot on the Eagles side. I think they're going to score too, but it's tough. Julio Jones is the same price as Noah Gray, and Noah Gray actually plays every week, and Julio Jones has made like 1 appearance on the football field this season. So it's like, I'm not betting Julio tonight, although it would be kind of sick if Julio scored a touchdown.
Yeah, it's funny because usually, Julio was the guy that you'd bring in on like the 2-yard line, throw a fade to. All right, let's bring him in when I have fucking A.J. Brown bigger and stronger and jumps higher right now as the other guy on the other side. So it's like, it's tough because, I'd be betting Goddard every fucking play, dude. I love betting Goddard touchdown, baby. I loved him in the red zone, but yeah, somebody else has got to score. And it ain't going to be Swift. I'm on a full fade Swift train tonight. And I did a DFS contest from last night's game and today's. Swift is probably going to be like fucking chalk, like 80%. Yeah. I'm off them. Let's go, everybody else. Let's have it be the quarterbacks. Let's toss it around to Kelsey Rice, AJ Brown. Let's see it around, but can't stay away from those backs.
Yeah, and I see too. He mentioned Gainwell 600. I saw that in Discord earlier, and I wanted to respond. I feel like I just can never trust Gainwell. Like I can never get there, and I understand why. Like he is that like random change of pace back that gets those opportunities, but just having Hurts there as well as like the kind of de facto goal line back as well. It's kind of that same problem they have in Baltimore of how do you get all these guys, different touches. So. Gainwell, he's a guy I never bet ever. You know what I mean? Like ever, even whether starting, backup, no matter what. It's just hard for me to trust him in that rotation. But I guess that's probably why you're betting it with the value.
Yeah, maybe 440. I might get a bet for me. That might be enough for me to bet on McKinnon. So yeah, and I don't like watching Gainwell play either. Like he don't deserve to be out there, but he finds a way out there, and he's like, so like. I also don't want to do it just for my own head as well. But, Stu, what do you got for the people there? We obviously rambled on a little bit there towards the end, but what do you got for the people before we head out today?
Hey, well, the one thing I'll say is I saw no Goddard. If any of you Eagles people have info, is Albert O involved? Because I love wasting money on backup tight ends. And Jake Stoll is like nothing. That guy like blocks. So he's not probably going to do anything. So there's got to be a backup tight end I can bet somewhere, even if it's wasting money. So I know you guys we got some Eagles fans in here. If any of you guys have your, ear to the ground, you're hip with the beat writers are up to, I want to know, is Alberto impressing? At least do we have any positive quote that I can take with a grain of salt and bet on anyway, because I was looking at the prices and hey, Alberto, if you've ever bet like the preseason or anything, he crushes in all those games that doesn't matter. So I want to bet on him. So someone please DM me a reason to bet on him by the end of the day. Yeah, that's always a possibility as well right there. But yeah, I mean, I don't have anything beyond that. Make sure to like the show. Follow here. Good weekend, obviously hit some long shots. I had a nice winning week. Hoping to end strong right here with one of the best primetime games we've had all season. So appreciate you guys. Follow me on Twitter, Monotone Football. And yeah, leave a like on the video. That's all I got.
Yes, sir. Obviously, just posted my YouTube Play of the Day video, 2 college basketball spots. Went 2-0 this weekend on those. So obviously very excited to keep that going. Got college basketball all day, so you could just sit, you can watch all that, get there, be ready for prime time there. I got a nice 1:30, man, coming up in 30 minutes. Gonna get some lunch. Gonna watch Tennessee, Syracuse. Obviously, always love the Maui Invitational. The Badgers on tonight as well, so it'll be fun to watch. And they got games all the way up to 11:30 tonight, baby. You can watch all night. So yeah, Marquette, UCLA at 10:30, right when this is done, baby. It's gonna be fun. Obviously, this is the best part. Don't know how these kids pass their classes. They're fucking in Maui all fucking time. Hey. You ain't doing schoolwork. Come on now. So obviously got great games all day. Got phenomenal football game tonight. Got the 2 plays out for you guys here. Hit that like button, please. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already. Like I said, so 50% of people watching the show do not subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, guys. It's nice and easy. It helps the algorithm, all that fun stuff that I am not smart enough to understand. So thank you guys for tuning in. We will be back Wednesday. I'm assuming for NFL because there's the 3 games on Thursday. But hopefully they'll have all the props out there by the time we go there, because I know I got to work a lot earlier. So we'll have to figure out a newer time here, unfortunately, for me there to pop on. So make sure you follow over on Twitter so you know what's happening. Hit that notification bell on the channel, and we'll see you Wednesday at some point. Talk about some NFL for Thanksgiving. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you on Wednesday.